Hello, dear friends. The most important information is always hidden from public, but the goal of mystery journalism is to reveal what is hidden. Opinion piece. Grenland Mysteries. Buried starship. The Arctic treasure. Cornerstone under the ice. Battle for Iran's stargate. Let's start. In the summer of 2018, a classified US Air Force study conducted from Thule Air Base detected a huge artificial structure 3 kilometers beneath the eastern Greenland ice sheet, 420 meters long, perfectly symmetrical, with a faint energy signal. Drilling confirmed the presence of an intact, very old starship with a self-repairing hull made of an unknown alloy, according to Paul White Gold Eagle. According to JFK Jr., the North Star site was established in 1989 and is an underground research and containment complex, buried more than 2 kilometers beneath the Greenland ice sheet. Classified as a weather station, it is one of the most highly classified facilities ever built. Satellite records show no surface structures. Access is via vertical ice shafts hidden beneath artificial glacial formations. No government has acknowledged its existence. According to JFK Jr., the artifacts recovered from beneath the Greenland ice date back more than 120,000 years, predating any known human civilization. In 1997, a deep ice radar detected a repeating signal originating from beneath the bedrock. After the initial transmission response, all communications in the sector were shut down for 90 minutes. Excavation. The discovery reached President Trump directly on August 12, 2018. After a briefing, he gave clear orders. In quotes, secure it completely. No leaks, no sharing. Get Greenland if you have to. The melting ice would expose the site within decades. A limited energy technology, gravity propulsion, and revolutionary materials would decide the global supremacy. China and Russia were already maneuvering in the Arctic, and only US control was acceptable. The goal of Project White Giant was to study a massive structure embedded beneath the ice itself, which is more than 3 kilometers long. Seismic exploration revealed internal chambers, but no entrances were known. Trump personally directed Project Polar Vault, a program that reported to the White House. Excavation began in 2019. A hidden underground complex built into the ice. High-level scientists worked in isolation. Trump initiated talks with Denmark in early 2019 and in August raised the possibility of buying Greenland. The world laughed, calling it eccentric real estate thinking. In reality, it normalized the strategic focus on the island and bought time. The protection was relentless. Russian and Chinese incursions were detected and blocked before they could escalate. Discoveries. Reverse engineering yielded results quickly. In 2020, the inertial damping field was successfully tested. In 2022, reactionless gravity propulsion was demonstrated. In 2023, vacuum power reactors produced megawatts. In 2024, alien computing substrates broke all foreign codes. In 2025, the Greenland Strategic Autonomy Agreement was signed. Before permanent U.S. security jurisdiction over key areas, exclusive research rights, and full defense responsibility in exchange for massive economic investment and the preservation of local self-government. Nuuk approved it by a majority, and Copenhagen accepted the unavoidable. By 2026, the ship is still in place, revealing secrets. Power has been quietly transformed. Energy independence, strategic deterrence, and technological dominance. Some discoveries are too crucial to share. Some responsibilities are too great for any one nation to bear. The ice continues to melt, but the secret remains safe. Iran. Ismail Perez describes the battle for stargating in Iran as a multi-dimensional operation where Qadians have reclaimed a stargate that had been embedded and in the hands of dark forces for some 6,000 years, marking the end of human suffering in that region as an energy currency. The Guardians, described as advanced intelligences aligned with organic creation, are believed to neutralize distortions, reclaim gates, and prevent further misuse by forces that once exploited these nodes for domination rather than for evolution. For thousands of years, ancient traditions, mystery schools, and other widely records have spoken of 12 primary stargates embedded within Earth's planetary grid are portals that regulate consciousness, timelines, and the flow of cosmic intelligence into this world. From this perspective, regions long marked by conflict are not random hotspots of tension, but energetic crossroads linked to ancient Earth grids, forgotten technologies, and suppressed knowledge. These gates are now being secured as humanity approaches a significant evolutionary threshold. Gate 10 represents a critical juncture between timelines, sovereignty, and planetary control. The 10th gate is set to influence the planetary sovereignty, time stability, the liberation of consciousness, and the collapse of artificial power structures. This gate is said to be one of the 12 major stargates of Earth's crystalline grid, located beneath the border of Iran and Iraq. Its original function is said to be that of harmonic translator, regulating the flow of consciousness, the stability of timelines, and the transition of soul densities between planes and civilizations. Ismail claims that some 6,000 years ago, with the rise of Babylon and the reorganization of the falling hierarchy of Atlantis, this gateway was hijacked by non-organic regressive forces. Since then, this portal has functioned as an energy harvesting mechanism, powering artificial matrices and artificial intelligence networks based on entropy and control. In his view, the battle in Iran is not a conventional military conflict, but an interdimensional war on 4D and 6D planes, inner Earth passages, and pockets of time inversion surrounding the portal's core. Bound by non-interference laws, the Guardians have waited until humanity's collective consciousness surpassed a certain frequency threshold to neutralize the portal's inversion. Liberation. Ismail Perez reports that the shadow anchors have been removed and the artificial facial blocks dissolved, restoring the original harmonic plane of this stargate. From that point onward, energy would no longer be extracted, but rather contributed to the planetary field, accelerating the liberation of the Iranian people, the dissolution of patterns of trauma and chronic conflict, and the convergence of the timeline toward planetary sovereignty. The Guardians and the Coalition of Worlds assume custody of the stargates, not as a conquest, but as a restoration and regulation of access, according to the coherence of consciousness, not merely technology. Civilizations aligned with organic law prevent the use of portals by hostile entities, artificial intelligence, or timeline manipulators, placing such portals in a state of latency or frequency blocking. He explains that without access to these corridors, shadow networks and set-in secret programs would lose their ability to manipulate world events, evade responsibility, or maintain power structures based on suffering. As collective consciousness expands, stargates will be used for peaceful contact, interstellar learning, and Earth's integration into a broader cosmic community, contingent upon the overcoming the paradigm of fear and domination. As the 12 gates come back online, humanity finds itself at a crossroad: fragmentation or reunification, control or sovereignty, amnesia or remembrance. The question is no longer whether the gates are being secured, but whether humanity is prepared to understand what they truly are. Wisdom of silence. In the world view of the peoples of the Great Plains, silence was not a void or an absence of sound, but a powerful and sacred presence, according to Tartaria Hispanica. For the Lakota, Hopi, and Apache, silence was the language of the Great Spirit, and the space where true introspection is born. In a society where one's word carried the weight of a contract, silence served as a necessary filter to ensure that every phrase was honest, necessary, and profound. Socially, verbosity was interpreted as a sign of immaturity or weakness of character. It was believed that those who spoke too much did not control their own thoughts, and therefore lacked the wisdom necessary to lead or advise. A wise person was one who knew how to listen to the wind, the animals, and others before passing judgment. Silence demonstrated respect for the listener, granting the necessary time for process that what has been said. To process what had been said. Reset. The true reset, according to Mr. Poole, was never meant to be noisy. It was never designed for applause, countdowns, or public comfort. It was designed to work. While most people expect without permission to live, decisions are being executed beyond explanation. Power doesn't demand attention when it doesn't need consent. What you feel isn't confusion. It is the side effect of a world where the old pressures no longer apply with the same force. The routes have changed, and the bottlenecks have lost their influence. The mechanisms that thrive on exhaustion find less to cling to. This is what transition looks like when it's real, not chaotic but eerily calm. For decades, a simple truth was ignored. You can't build a functioning system on a broken population. You can't restore finances while keeping the body exhausted and attention fractured. That's why change isn't just structural. It's biological, cognitive, and rhythmic. This is where people get lost. They expect the money to move first, and ads to arrive first, or permission to be granted first. But restoration precedes expansion, and stability precedes growth. When the body isn't putting out fires, the system doesn't need to enforce compliance. Silence becomes possible because urgency is no longer necessary. That's why we see less theater and more effect, less persuasion and more execution, less noise and more consistency. What doesn't need defending is already blocked. What doesn't need announcing is already operating. What doesn't depend on belief will continue to exist with or without it. If you have felt the pressure is for no clear reason, that's not imagination. If you have felt a strange return of patience, focus, or calm, that's not accidental. The system isn't accelerating, it's adjusting. When that happens, those waiting for signals from screens will miss the most important thing, the absence of forced urgency. Silence isn't emptiness. It's proof that execution needs no explanation. This isn't a promise or a warning. It's a statement or direction. The reset isn't coming to save anyone. It's coming to work. Those who can move with stability will soon recognize it. Those who need constant noise will call it nothingness until it becomes everything. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.